Now, on KGW News, a difficult search for the final victim lost in the Willamette after a car launched into the river.
We're just trying to hopefully provide some closure to them.
And the major deal with Iran tonight that puts a pause on fighting and opens a critical shipping route. Then, driven by the war, gas prices hit a frustrating milestone.
It's just brutal out here.
And I'm frankly just kind of worried that we might have to start rationing.
And it's opening night at the brand new Hillsborough ballpark. A look at the upgrades that fans can expect this season.
You think of like professional ballparks, right? This is right up there with them.
But our top story tonight, the crucial Strait of Hormuz back open. Earlier this evening, Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with the United States and Israel. President Trump made the announcement on Truth Social just 90 minutes ahead of a deadline he set, while threatening to end Iranian civilization if the strait wasn't opened. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Christine Pitawanich. About 20% of the world's oil travels through the Strait of Hormuz between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula. Iran effectively shut down the waterway after the war began by firing at ships trying to travel through, leading to a spike in oil prices. President Trump said on Truth Social the 2-week ceasefire comes after the U.S. already met or exceeded all of its military objectives. He added the U.S. is very far along with a definitive peace agreement with Iran. Iran, for its part tonight, is claiming victory, with the country's Supreme National Security Council saying it forced the U.S. to accept its 10-point peace proposal. Now, President Trump's initial threats to blow up civilian infrastructure in Iran drew pretty sharp criticism from Democratic members of Congress who are renewing calls to limit the president's war powers. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker in Portland for a book tour today joined Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley and Oregon Representative Maxine Dexter in saying President Trump's threats of bombing Iran, quote, back to the Stone Age, are indefensible.
I join with my colleagues here and other colleagues around this country with saying that the Senate and the House should be back in session, that we should stop an out-of-control president who is causing such harm to the American people and threatening to escalate a war that is already out of control.
Tonight, Representative Dexter posted that the temporary ceasefire in Iran is good, but she still believes Congress needs to return to D.C. and, quote, end the crisis with a war powers vote. Meantime, gas prices, partially pushed up by that war in Iran, reached an average of $5 a gallon in Oregon today. In Washington, it's even higher at $5.39. The national average sits at $4.14. Alma McCarty spoke with experts and drivers dealing with the rising costs. Alma, what'd they tell you?
Yeah, Christine, it has been 4 years since Oregonians have seen gas prices this high. And I can tell you, it is hard to find someone who doesn't consider the increases a burden for everyday people.
Across the Rose City, Portlanders pulling up to the pump. Watch the numbers climb.
Unfortunately, gas prices continue to go up, up, and up.
And if you're someone who drives every day,
It's just brutal out here.
like Josh Moss,
I do commercial construction.
that cost is frustrating, but unsurprising.
Paid $150 to fill it for 27 gallons, so
And
that's a lot.
He says, luckily, his employer will be footing the bill. Less than 3 miles from this spot, another cheaper option in Southeast.
It's kind of outrageous.
But even this is too high, especially when your commute takes you to the other side of town, like Tamberhume.
I have to commute to far out East Portland. Definitely notice that I'm spending a lot more to fill up my tank. And I'm frankly just kind of worried that we might have to start rationing.
Anytime you have a major oil producing area involved in a geopolitical event, we are going to see crude oil prices rise.
And the last time they were this high was 4 years ago. Here's Marie Dodds with AAA.
2022 was the last time that the Oregon and national averages were above $5 a gallon for regular gas. And it happened right when Russia invaded Ukraine.
Dodds says the good news, even though prices are still going up, the rate of increase is slowing. After the ceasefire announcement Tuesday, crude oil prices, she explains, did drop.
As though we could get a little bit of stability at the pumps if we don't have other situations. And of course, we have a lot of rhetoric going on, a lot of developments changing hour by hour. And so, you really have to look at what's happening right here and now to get any sense of what might happen in the coming days. And as we all know, it can change with the blink of an eye.
Now, AAA also tells me that this time of year, they tend to see gas prices increase anyway due to the switch from winter to summer blend of gasoline. Christine?
Yeah, a tough time for anyone driving a gas car. Thank you, Alma. Well, there are also a few simple ways you can save yourself some money at the pump. That includes using gas station apps or websites like Gas Buddy to find the best price before you head out. Consumer Reports also recommends against buying premium gas, of course, if your car doesn't need it, and of course most don't. Many gas stations also charge less if you pay in cash. You can increase your fuel efficiency by also making sure tire pressure is high enough and by speeding less. And think about taking off your roof or bike rack when you're not using them, because that air resistance can potentially add up. Okay, let's take a step outside now on this Tuesday night with a live look from our Rose City Sky Cam. 51 degrees downtown. Right now, temperatures dropping, and you could wake up to some frost tomorrow. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri here now with a first look at your weather impact forecast. Good evening, Joe.
Hey there. What a wild ride. From record-breaking temperatures to more like winter conditions out there tomorrow morning. Overnight lows, Christine, will be dropping into the low to mid 30s, especially through some of the outlying areas. Now, this frost advisory just took effect a couple of minutes ago throughout much of the metro area, although it doesn't include downtown Portland, but it does include a lot of the suburbs stretching up and down the I-5 corridor, basically from southwest Washington along the foothills of the Coast Range, as well as into the Lynn and Lane County area. So as we go into our hour-by-hour forecast, we'll show you just how cold things we're going to be getting. Along the Oregon coast, you can see temperatures will be cooling off just above freezing, I'd say by 3:30, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. And in the valley, up and down the I-5 corridor, yeah, our temperatures will be dropping into the mid to the upper 30s. But going into the afternoon tomorrow, it's going to be another nice day once we get past those cold temperatures. By midday, we'll be seeing a temperature close to the mid 50s with a daytime high tomorrow of 68 degrees. Lots of blue skies a good portion of this week. I do have some changes in the forecast. I'll talk more about that in just a couple minutes.
Okay, thank you, Joe. We're continuing to cover the search for the fourth person in the car that drove into the Willamette River in downtown Portland Monday. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office says the low visibility and movement at the bottom of the river are making the search difficult. In just the last day, the car has moved roughly 20 feet. The search started yesterday after a Portland police officer tried to pull the car over for driving recklessly. Investigators say the driver took off through Waterfront Park and crashed through a metal railing before plunging into the river. One person was rescued soon after the crash. 2 other bodies were recovered by Monday afternoon, with the fourth person still missing but presumed dead.
We generally only have one boat on the water at any given time. We have 110 miles of river to patrol. So unfortunately, sometimes though we might want to be in a certain area and spend our time there, we have other things that could pull us away. We want to make sure, if we can, to go and find this unaccounted for person and return them to their family.
All day, community and family members visited the site of the crash, where there is now a barricade and also a growing memorial. In a developing story, a pair of cases challenging how federal officers handle protesters outside the Portland ICE facility went before an appeals court today. The issue: should there be limits on the use of tear gas? Investigative reporter Kyle Aboshi has the update.
These cases are important because they'll shape how federal officers manage protests in Portland and potentially elsewhere around the country. The hearings before a 3-judge panel were held remotely and streamed live.
Scenes like this, tear gas, pepper balls, and flashbang grenades outside the ICE building in Portland were the focus of back-to-back hearings before the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. The 3-judge panel previously overturned a lower court ruling that had temporarily blocked federal agents from using tear gas on peaceful protesters. Tuesday, they heard from the Trump administration, as well as lawyers representing residents near the ICE building, journalists, and protesters who claim to have been targeted by officers. During the hearing, Judge Anna D'Alba, a Biden appointee, said she found some of the videos in the case to be quite disturbing.
We had a protester shot in the eye. I just don't know how we're justifying this.
The other two judges, Kenneth Lee and Eric Tung, both Trump appointees, raised questions about the restrictions on federal officers.
If hundreds of people came and started vandalizing the gates or the security cameras, I guess under the district court's injunction, the agents still couldn't use these crowd control devices.
Correct. The crowd control.
I don't see how that's covered under the First Amendment there. I mean, there's no First Amendment right to commit vandalism or impede law enforcement. It seems the injunction was just way too broad.
The hearings lasted less than an hour, with no word on when a decision will be reached. This comes just days after the Ninth Circuit ruled in a separate but similar protest case in Los Angeles. In that case, the appeals court sided largely with protesters and journalists, but ordered a lower court to narrow its injunction. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
Washington and Clackamus counties have rejected a request from Portland's mayor to help fund additional homeless shelters in the city. Mayor Keith Wilson requested $4 million from Clackamus County and $6 million from Washington County, all to help fund 4 homeless shelters and 2 day centers in Portland. The mayor calls them, quote, emergency resources for the entire region. After separate board meetings and public comment today, both counties declined to send any money to Portland.
And that we're not just writing blank checks to, frankly, an agency that has really lacked public trust because of their failures to actually get ahead of the crisis.
I can tell you, for me, I am not in favor of providing money to Portland. I think that we have enough need here.
In response, Mayor Wilson expressed his gratitude for their consideration. Both counties say they have not ruled out future partnerships. To a major deal in the tech world now, with Intel announcing it's joining Elon Musk's Terraab project. It's a massive AI chip complex being built with SpaceX and Tesla in Texas. Intel posted a photo of CEO Lip-Bu Tan and Musk at the Intel headquarters in Santa Clara over the weekend. The goal is to produce chips that will power the future of AI and robotics. The deal is a significant win for Intel, which has faced billions in losses and widespread layoffs as it fights to stay relevant in this AI era.